Okay, howdy PreCal. We are looking at rational functions application and then the review. So this is the last little bit that I need to work through. I just made that other video and I have worked through the answer key and I'm going fast on purpose. And so I tried to show you every possible detail I could show you in my answer key so that I could help you figure out what's happening. Okay, so the application problems, they look scarier than they really are, so don't overthink it. Okay, so in this one, they tell us a car has a front-end collision. When a car has a front-end, When a car has a front-end collision, the objects in the car, including passengers, keep moving forward until the impact occurs. Seatbelts and airbags limit how far you are jolted forward, then you are thrown back. The formula for the velocity you are thrown backwards is v sub f equals m1 minus m2 over m1 plus m2 times v1, where m1 and m2 are the masses of the two objects meeting, and did I say vi? Vi is the initial velocity. Okay, so they want us to fill in, basically what we need to do is we need to rewrite this equation. They're telling us that m1 is equal to 10. We don't know m2. So this is 10 plus m2. And then our VI, this is being multiplied by 5. So all I did is I took these values and plugged them into the equation above. It looks scarier than it really is. Well, but let's clean this up. We're used to seeing this as, if I can distribute the 5 across, this is 5 over 1, so I multiply 5 across the top but not the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and multiply 5 across the top and switch it so that the m's come in front. So this is negative 5m plus 50 over m2. I should keep that. m2 plus 10. Okay, so now I can see that I have an asymptote. Graph the function. Okay, that's what we're still doing. I had to check back and see what my directions were. I have an asymptote when m2 is equal to negative 10. And I also noticed that my variables here, this m2 and m2, they have the same degree. That the sub 2 is just telling us it's the second mass or the third mass or the 15th mass, but it doesn't tell us that it's squared. So they have the same degree. They both are degree 1. And so I have an asymptote. My y, well, I don't have a y value, but so I'm going to use this. Notice v sub f is equal to negative 5 that's my second asymptote. So I have two asymptotes. So now I need to graph this, and on some of these it's a lot easier if you remember, okay, my y values are v sub f and my x values are, what had been x is now m sub 2. Okay, so I don't have the x and y axis. I'm going to label it so I know what the heck I'm doing. So I've got an asymptote when m sub 2 is equal to negative 10. So this is that one, m sub 2 equals negative 10. Can you see what I'm trying to write? Sorry. And then the other asymptote is when it equals negative 5. Okay, so that's this one is v sub f is equal to negative 5. But really and truly, all we care about is quadrant 1, because it doesn't make sense to have a negative mass, and it doesn't make sense, well, like, we could have a negative velocity. Let me think about, well, anyway, typically we stay in quadrant 1. Okay, so the other thing that I need to know when I graph this is what happens when I plug in the point, when my x value or my m2 is equal to 0. When I have a 0 here, then I get 50 over 10, which is just 5. So I'm going to have the point 0, 5 right here. And so this is going to do something like that. Oh, okay, this does make sense. And really and truly, what we need is we need this part. So from here, because like we said, it doesn't make sense to have a negative mass, but it does make sense to have a negative velocity. So it's okay that we start approaching that negative velocity there. I should not have graphed this, but then I'd have to, anyway, whatever. If I hit erase, it'll get rid of the whole thing. Okay, so that's the piece of the graph that I care about. Then it says, using the values from part A, find the velocity you're thrown back. Okay, so basically I need to plug in 20 for m2. So I have negative 5 times 20 plus 50 over 20 plus 10, which is equal, what is that? Negative 50 over 30. So that's negative 5/3. And what are my units? I don't even know. I was just solving for velocity, and velocity is in meters per second. Right here is where I see that. So hopefully that makes sense. Is there anything else I need to tell you about this? Basically, on some of the problems, they'll then ask, what do the asymptotes mean? And what's happening here is that our velocity can get as big as -5. Like, so we'll go like this. Oops, sorry, you can't. I was using the wrong tool. This asymptote right here shows us the velocity can get velocity. It gets less and less positive, and then it gets you're moving more. You'll never go more than -5 for your velocity. The physics teachers might kill me for the way I described that. The other ones make a little more sense. Okay, so go work the problems, check my answer key, and good luck to you. Okay, goodbye.